Let's quickly review some safety basics to help you prevent accidents. Before you begin your shift, that's the time to think about safety. Dress for work with proper footwear. When your job calls for wearing gloves, such as when moving or handling pallets, wear gloves. Eye protection, when required, must also be worn. It's a good idea not to wear rings and jewelry at work. Rings can get caught on pallets, machines, and equipment, and it doesn't take much pressure to cause a serious injury. These are simple rules, but remember that safety rules are based upon accident experience. Gloves, proper footwear, eye protection, and not wearing rings and jewelry really do prevent injuries. Everyone engages in lifting every day, some more than others, but it's important that you understand how to lift properly, which means the safe way to lift. There is no job that cannot be completed safely, and that includes safe lifting. When you lift anything, think about the discs in your back. Discs are located between your backbones, which provide the flexibility in your back. You've heard it many times before. Bend your legs and not your back. The purpose of bending your legs is to keep those discs lined straight with the bones. When you bend your back, those discs become pinched, which can lead to back problems. Most back pains and injuries result from strains or torn ligaments. Ligaments are like strong rubber bands. When you stretch, they stretch. If you stretch too far, these ligaments can tear and cause pain. That's why we ask you not to twist or stretch when lifting. Being realistic, we know you lift hundreds of objects every day and in areas where you can't always bend your legs. What we're asking you to do is use your good judgment and think about those delicate discs between the bones and those rubber bands or ligaments and lift as safely as possible. Use your legs as support for your back when you can. Use your free hand as support for your back when lifting if possible. The only person who can prevent back injuries is you. Working hard, lifting many things, and lifting in awkward positions does not mean you'll have a back injury. Before you attempt to lift anything, find out how heavy it is. If it's too heavy, get help. If the object can be lifted by mechanical means, use that method as much as possible. No matter what job you have, you can prevent back injuries if you just think of how to lift safely. Housekeeping is of major importance in safety and efficient operations. If you see something on the floor that doesn't belong there, pick it up. If you see a spill or some oil on the floor, wipe it up. It doesn't take a lot of effort to keep our areas clean, but it does require everyone's cooperation. Slips and falls can be quite serious, and good housekeeping is one method of reducing slips and falls. Another method of eliminating slips and falls is to watch where you're walking. It sounds simple, but in a fast-paced work environment, everyone has a tendency to think about other things. So take the time to watch where you're walking to avoid slipping and falling. Of course, running is prohibited because it can lead to accidents and injuries. Pay attention to your surroundings and make it a habit to avoid slips and falls. Okay, let's move on to forklifts, the workhorses of our business. Every person operating forklifts or material handling materials must be trained and authorized by the company. If you haven't been trained and authorized, don't operate the equipment. Forklift operators have the responsibility to operate the equipment safely and certainly to watch for pedestrians or other employees in the area. Honking horns when going around blind corners, driving at a safe speed, driving in reverse when the load blocks your vision. One very important safety rule is to be extremely careful when raising a load. Property damage occurs when operators don't look ahead to see where the load is being raised. Of course, never drive your forklift with the load raised. Keep the forks about 4 to 6 inches off the floor, with the load tilted back slightly when you're moving loads. When you're ready to raise a load, that's the time to stop, put the mast in a vertical position, then carefully raise the load. Don't allow anyone to walk under raised loads. Of course, riders are never allowed on forklifts. Not on the forks, not on the side, not on the rear of the vehicle, and not with the driver. When starting any vehicle, including forklifts, the operator must be on board in the driver's seat. Never start a vehicle unless you're sitting in the driver's seat. Forklifts are very efficient machines, but they can be very dangerous if not used in a safe manner. Always follow company procedures and safety rules when operating forklift equipment. Employees working near forklifts also have a responsibility to stay away from moving equipment. Forklift operators can't always see or hear you, so it's up to you to watch out for forklifts also. When entering a trailer with a forklift, there are some basic rules to follow. First, the trailer wheels must be chalked. Check to see if the trailer will support the weight of the load and the forklift. A stabilizer jack may be required on some trailers to prevent it from taking a nosedive. When the trailer doors are open, the dock plate must be in position. Now let's say that again because it's important. When a trailer door is open, the dock plate must be placed in position. The procedure is simple. When a trailer door is open, that's the time to use the metal hook, pulling the dock plate up and then over the trailer floor. Always use the metal hook because hand and finger injuries can be quite serious if you handle the dock plate by hand. When operating a forklift inside a trailer, make sure the forks don't extend beyond the pallet. If you're not aware of the fork's position in the pallet, you can damage the trailer skin. Another safety rule is to watch carefully when lifting any load in a trailer. The top of the trailer isn't very high, and raising a load can damage the top of the trailer. So far, we haven't discussed loads. Simply stated, make sure the load is stable before you move it. If loads are shifted to one side or aren't properly stacked, take the time to adjust the load before you try to move it. One of the most important accident prevention techniques is to properly stack materials and shipments. Items falling from poorly stacked loads can lead to accidents and injuries. When stacking pallets, make sure they're square and are properly stacked. Fast, efficient movement of materials doesn't mean accidents and injuries. Think about how much time and effort are wasted when an accident occurs. You're professionals. You know how to handle materials, equipment, and how to follow safety rules. Safety is nothing more than common sense and doing the right thing at the right time. Hand injuries can be quite serious. Cuts from steel banding material can be eliminated by wearing gloves and handling the banding material in a safe manner. When installing aluminum security seals, don't rush the job and use gloves. The seals have very sharp sides and can cause very nasty cuts. When handling pallets, use gloves. Splinters, broken wood, and nails can also cause painful injuries. Hand injuries are a result of not paying attention to the job and not having respect for the objects or materials you're handling. Pinching fingers between heavy objects and other hand injuries can be eliminated through awareness and paying attention to the job. Safety is common sense and following safety rules. We've said that before, but it's true. It's taking the time to think about safety before you perform any job. It's having a safety attitude and making an effort to prevent accidents. If you notice a safety hazard, report it to your supervisor so it can be corrected. If you see an oil leak or other hazard on the floor, clean it up if possible. If you can't correct the hazard yourself, report it so it can be corrected. Lifting safely, handling pallets in a safe manner, operating forklifts in a professional and safe manner, using hooks when handling dock plates. These things aren't complicated. The answer to accidents and injuries is you. No one else has control over accidents and injuries except you. If you do experience an accident or injury, report it to your supervisor when it occurs. Don't wait. Report it when it happens. If you need first aid or medical treatment, it will be provided. Everyone has a stake in safety, and it requires a team effort from everyone. Safety programs are designed to prevent all accidents and injuries. Training is provided, safety rules and policies are established, and it's your responsibility to follow these rules and procedures. When an employee experiences an accident or injury, and that accident or injury is a result of violating safety rules, not paying attention to the job, or negligence, the company has an obligation to provide a counseling. Actually, it's training. This counseling explains how your actions contributed to the accident or injury and what action you must take to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Failure to improve your safety behavior could lead to disciplinary action. The company has a responsibility to protect all employees, and enforcement of all safety rules, policies, and procedures is an obligation taken seriously. One accident, one injury is too many. Think about the consequences of an injury. Think about the consequences of a fatal accident. It just isn't worth taking chances or violating safety rules. Think about safety and use your good judgment to complete the job safely. Thank you.